Good morning, Patrick. How are you today? Welcome in, everybody. Looking forward. See what's going to happen here. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to On the Bench with Big Jim. My name is Jim Nielsen, and a lot of people call me Big Jim for some obvious reasons. But good morning, Sammy. Good to see you. This is a crazy adventure that we're gonna give a try here, and looking forward to this new adventure. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Yeah. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, somebody. Oh. So, I can barely hear you. Okay, let me see. Let me make an adjustment here. Thumbs up. Okay, thanks, Jason. Is that any better? Can you hear me any better? I can hear you. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Craig. I appreciate you. And good deal, Andy. I'm glad you can hear me all the way from India. That's terrific. What we're going to do today is, this is obviously my first show with On the Bench. I've been doing this Facebook gig for some time now, and so I feel pretty comfortable in where we're at. All right. Let me mute that. But anyway, I had a lot of response over the weekend with doing the ORCA duels down in California, down in Redding, California. And what a great experience that was. I hope you were able to watch the dual meets. And hi, how you doing, Luna? It was just a wonderful overall experience. Such good wrestling, and I want to give 3 claps to all of the wrestlers that took their time and headed to Simpson University to compete for their school, their states, and it was obviously this is my home. This is my office in my home, and I saw pretty cluttered. Just have pictures all over. And I had a great time, and I was able to spend the weekend with my wife. She was there helping me load the matches and the information about the kids and about the sponsors. And I want to start this show off by thanking all of the people who helped put together the broadcast. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to go down there and do that for everyone. And I feel it's so important to thank them, because without them, there wouldn't have been the ability to do what we did. And I wanted to publicly thank them, but also I'm going to post right here, right now, a list of all the people that participated in, and you can see right there. So if you'd like to look at the people who helped sponsor the broadcast, this is the list of the people. And for them to do that, it's a wonderful thing. it just shows you the support the kids here in Washington were given by their local families, booster clubs, athletic department booster clubs, the wrestling booster clubs. There was 2 wrestling camps that helped sponsor and it was just a wonderful thing that the wrestling family got together and they were able to support us. And again, like and share this video, and that way more people can see it. I really enjoy the opportunity to talk about wrestling. I have a deep passion for it, and looking forward to continuing to do that in some form or fashion. Hello, Supermax. How you doing? It's good to see you here. Good morning, David. Hello back to you too. If you have a question, or my email is in the post. It's on the bench with bigjim@gmail.com, and you can email me a question, or you can email me a comment or a thought or an idea for a show. But we're going to try and do this Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We'll start at 9 o'clock, and we'll go as long as I feel it's interesting. And I have lots of friends that I can talk to, and it doesn't necessarily have to be wrestling or sports. We can talk about anything, just because I have the ability to sit down on a bench, and the connotation is, in all athletic realms, there's a bench somewhere where the coach sits or the other players sit. And I don't know, what do you guys think about the name of the show? Anyway, On the Bench with Big Jim, I thought was interesting because, or fun. It's just my crazy thoughts in my head. But anyway, Jim, you're very welcome, and it was such a joy to go down and do the ORCA duels, and I hope the broadcast was worthy. Good morning, Kevin, and awesome. Yes, Dominguez is watching from Nebraska. That's pretty cool. I have, just so you know, I have Andy Cook is on here, and he is in India right now with Team India, getting ready, I'm guessing, for the World Championships, but he's over there. Andy Cook is a good friend of mine, but I have friends from all over. I know Sammy Henson is in Missouri, or he's probably in Louisiana at a camp right now. But I have lots of great friends, and I appreciate all of you in supporting this venture. What I wanted to do this morning was to do a little wrap up of the ORCA duels, and talk a little bit about these kids that took their time out of their busy schedule, because they're high school seniors, and they traveled down to California, and when you're on the top of your game, and you put it all out there on the line, it's a tough thing. And I applaud and I commend these young men and the young women. Actually, the Washington women's team ended up winning, and Melanie Flores, right there, just popping into the show. Melanie Flores went down there and represented Team Washington, and the Washington girls defended their championship from 2018 and beat California in an exciting match. And I'm still going to have to go back and watch those matches, and they were on Washington Women's Wrestling's Facebook page, so you can go back and watch those as well. But Melanie Flores and Emily Mendez from Othello and a bunch of other girls represented Washington very, very well. Washington blanking Oregon 73-0. 73-0. All of the Washington girls won their matches. And then against California, it was 33-30. and it came right down to the last duel, right down to the last match. Very exciting. We were at the other end, and I'm trying to broadcast the boys, and the crowd and the Team Washington girls were just going nuts because it was a very exciting match. So please go watch the Washington women's wrestling duel against California. 33-30. Team Washington wins that duel. So I had the task of broadcasting the boys, ORCA, Team Washington boys, and first off, let me go through the list of the names of the boys. Kelso was represented by Alan Luft at 106 pounds, and Moses Lake was represented by the 113-pound Riley Burgess. 120 pounds was represented by Isaac Lopez from Burlington Edison. And just a quick note, Junior, I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But anyway, at 126 pounds was Austin Mikulski from Tahoma. At 132 pounds, we had a replacement at the last minute. Grayson Lecomte from Edmonds Woodway was called at the last minute and was willing to pack up his bags Thursday evening and get ready to drive down with the team on Friday. So we want to thank Grayson. At 138 pounds, we had Tanner Craig from Camas. Represented Camas exceptionally well, getting 2 falls for Team Washington on the weekend. 145 pounds was Alex Rubio from Toppenish. 152, Frankie Almagar from Granger High School. 160 pounds, Danny Snedeker from Union. 100, and I may have killed that. I'm sorry. I'm still not sure if I was saying that name right. But anyway, 170 pounds is Andy Aguilera from Toppenish, winning both of his matches. Bernie Garza is our 182-pounder. Bernie Garza Jr. from Othello. 195 pounds, we had Isaac Gomez from Tonasket, and he won both of his matches. 220 pounds was Luke Purcella of Curtis. And our heavyweight, Luke Dahlgren from Forks, at 285 pounds. That was just a quick rundown of the team, who they were, and what I wanted to talk about is to talk about these young men, because there's more than just the wrestling. I had each of the young men send me a bio so that I could learn a little bit about them, and I wanted to talk about them individually. If you have a comment or you want to post something, that's great, Blake. I appreciate your comment there. I will if you post a comment and I see it, I'm trying to keep track right in front of me. So if you have a comment or an idea, or you can email me at onthebenchwithbigjim@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at Big Jim Nielsen. That's my Twitter handle, and I'm trying. Yes, Patrick, you can definitely be on my show. We'll do that sometime. Thank you for being interested in doing that. Jeremy Carter, I totally agree that Isaac Gomez from Tonasket was very, very impressive, and I'm glad you're able to listen at work, buddy. But the northern Central Washington guys can be proud of how Isaac Gomez represented not only himself, his family, his school, and community, but he represented Team Washington very well. And finishing his match with the California guy with a resounding pin, which was really nice. It was pretty sweet. But I was impressed with him. Very, down to earth, and what a great kid Isaac Gomez is. Thanks for making that post. But anyway, let me go back, and if I get out of sorts here, we'll see what happens. I have about 10 minutes before our first guest, and we're going to see how this works. Just give me one second. Yes, Denise, I saw all those young men pile into your car, and I thought, oh my heavens, what a tight quarters. But what a great experience for you to be able to be with your son and him making new friends. Riley will remember this experience for the rest of his life, and so will the other boys, and I think so will you too, because getting together on a special team like this it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And in fact, the memories from last year's ORCA duels popped up on my Facebook yesterday, and it brought back memories of 2011 when the team went down for the first time and then ended up winning the whole thing, beating Oregon and then California. It was very cool. Sorry, I'm doing some business. Anyway, so really quick, I wanted to talk about Alan Luft from Kelso, our 106-pounder. And it's always tough to be the first guy out, trying to set the tone of the duel and all of that. And Alan, in the first match against Oregon, he got the first takedown, and it looked really good because he was he really controlled the first minute of the match, and everything was looking really good. And then Trigger Wares from Oregon got an escape. And Alan seemed to be controlling the match and controlling the mat as well. And he fell into a lateral drop and ended up giving up 5 points. But he didn't get pinned. And but it seemed after that he couldn't get back on track. But I was really impressed with Alan and his willing to fight, and willing to fight is and he, I think even though he ended up 0-2 on the weekend, he showed me that he was a fighter, and I really want to give my hats off to Alan Love. Also, I want to thank Alan's parents. His dad owns Mountain Goat Tattoo there in Longview, and they were willing to help sponsor the event. And if you have an opportunity, you can go to it. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to, but you can go to the link that I'm going to post, and see some of the artwork, and support Mountain Goat Tattoo as they supported us this weekend. So there we go there. The next kid was Riley Burgess from Moses Lake, and man, I love this kid. Riley Burgess showed a lot of grit. Riley went 1-1 on the weekend. He totally took care of business in his first match against Ezra DeLuca of Phoenix, the Phoenix Pirates out of Oregon, and Riley winning 6-1 in that match. And you know, I've had the pleasure and the honor to be broadcaster of Mose Lake Chief Wrestling for the last couple of years, and I've watched Riley grow into a fine young man. And you know, he went through a time there where he had some doubts, and I hope, Riley, you don't mind me sharing this, but Riley, you know, when it comes down to it, it's tough. It's a tough sport, and it is. It can play, you know, mind games with you, and it tried to do that with Riley, and Riley bared down right there at the end, and went to state and took 5th place for the Chiefs, and I'm so proud of you. You're on the wall, and you'll be there forever. Nobody can ever take that from you. And Riley's sponsors this weekend were Columbia Physical Therapy of Moses Lake. And, you know, it's interesting because Columbia Physical Therapy was in business, or well, the start of it, back when I was in high school, and they took care of me, and they still do that today, and they support all the high school sports here in the area, and I'm proud of that Steve Roylance is a good friend, and David Jensen, and if you have any needs, you can go see them. Also, a sponsor of Riley Burgess is the Segnar Company, and they are a custom rock crushing company here in town, and they can do any kind of landscaping work, and check them out if you're in need of that kind of a business. But I want to thank Bob Segnar for helping sponsor the broadcast as well, and also Joey and Meredith Zamora. And by the way, happy birthday to Joey Zamora. It's your birthday, and make it a special day, bud. It should be a great day. But we want to thank those sponsors for being with us. And I just saw Levi Jones pop in, and thank you, Levi, for jumping on board and helping sponsor the broadcast of. We're going to talk about Kaizen Intensive Camp here in just a second. But anyway, we're going to go to our next weight class, Isaac Lopez of Burlington Edison. No, man, you're gonna get more of it, Levi. So hang tight, buddy. we're gonna do more of this here. The next weight class, and in fact, it's perfect timing because here in a few minutes we're gonna be talking. In about 5 minutes, we're gonna be talking with the guy that came up with Bandit Wrestling Academy. And Bandit Wrestling Academy is the club that this next wrestler, Isaac Lopez from Burlington Edison, our 120-pounder, started his wrestling back in the day, and very, very cool thing that Andy Cook did in helping kids learn more about themselves, but that's the Bandit Wrestling Academy, and he helped sponsor the 120-pound weight class down at the ORCA duels, and it's an honor to be able to have so many friends in the sport of wrestling that make such a big difference in people's lives. And looking forward to continuing those relationships. but Isaac Lopez ended up going 1-1 this weekend. But the thing that I wanted to talk about Isaac was against his Oregon opponent, Simon Thurman from Lowell. Early in the match, it looked like Isaac was going to take care of this guy, and then all of a sudden, Isaac ends up on his back in a head and arm, in the middle of the mat, in like the first, 15 seconds. But right off the bat, it looked as if, and Isaac's a very talented wrestler, 2-time state champion for Burlington Edison, and all of a sudden he's on his back, in the middle of the mat, in a tight head and arm. And I looked at the clock, and it's still like 1:10 left. And I'm thinking, and Isaac had a 3-point. He had tilted up his arm, and he was in for the fight. And it was terrific to witness this. And he pops out of this head and arm. I don't know how, but he did. And he gets the reversal. And then he puts Thurman on his back. Oh, what a turn of events. And the first round ends 5-5 when he was in such a bad spot. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an exciting match. And then Thurman chooses top because he couldn't get away the remainder of the first period. And so he chooses neutral. And they go on their feet, and Isaac Lopez takes him down and pins him. So he goes from a really bad position in where you think, oh my heavens, it's not going to go good. This is not going good. And so it was wonderful to see Isaac Lopez overcome that adversity. Because I'll be honest with you, I know that his record as a junior was 47-0, but he overcame some pretty bad. And what does he do? He gets a pin for Team Washington. And so without further ado, now I haven't done this yet. I did it in some testing, but we're trying to connect right now, and here we are. We have Andy Cook all the way from India. What an amazing thing. How are you doing, Andy?
Oh, I'm doing good, good.
Awesome. Hey, I'm glad you were able to watch Isaac wrestle against Oregon. He had a really tough match in his California match, but for him to come back, I mean, he was in a tough spot in that first period against Oregon, and he showed his toughness, mental toughness, and it was very, very cool. So, everybody comment about having Andy. I'm so glad Andy Cook, my first guest on the bench. Welcome to On the Bench, man.
Heck yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jamie. I've been watching your broadcast for a few years, right? I pop in and watch those Moses Lake matches and just try and keep up and watch as much wrestling as possible. So, I feel super honored to be on with you tonight, and pretty cool to see.
It's nice there for you.
Friends and family.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm glad we were able to do this. I mean, you are on the other side of the world, and it is 9:30, right? It's 9:30 there?
It's actually, I think, 10 o'clock now, so we're like 12 and a half hours ahead of you guys.
How are you guys a half hour off? I don't understand that. That's crazy.
There's a lot of stuff that's off in this country.
Okay, so we're going to come back to that really quick, but tell us a little bit about when you started Bandit Wrestling Academy and how that, and the proof's in the pudding. Isaac Lopez is a great product of your program.
Yeah, I've had a blessing having a few really good wrestlers come through that club. Isaac started, as a seventh grader or eighth grader, I think. Maybe he was a seventh grader, and it was a tough road for him. I had taken a bunch of little kids around the country, and they were all getting medals, winning everything. And Isaac, I think like the first 2 or 3 big tournaments I took him to, he drew like Bo Bartlett first. He drew like some huge name national champion kids that were smashing everybody already. So he's been thrown in that head and arm that he got out of and fought off many times. I've seen Isaac is probably one of the toughest kids to pin that I've coached. He gets himself put on his back too much, but had he not, he is a stinking tough kid to pin.
Yeah, well, I was really impressed when he was able to do that. So it was wonderful to be able to witness it and to get to, to visit with him a little bit. And he was on the team last year because he replaced Kyler, who got hurt in training for the ORCA duels, and a last-minute replacement. And, he said, I need to redeem myself from last year. And he certainly did that against Oregon. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, Isaac's a good kid, and I really hope he gets a home somewhere. He's got a ton of potential and a ton of growth still to go in his wrestling. He's got a lot of matches still in him, so it'd be fun to watch him at the next level. I don't even care what level, junior college.
I think I would be really surprised if he didn't. I'd get an invitation to go somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt. So, he's looking to go somewhere.
So
how I started Bandit, Michael Lomsdale, the head coach at Anacortes High School now, he had called me up, and he had started a club at Burlington and got a new job and wasn't able to do the club. He had like scheduled 3 or 4 days, and his job was only going to allow him to do 1 or 2 days. So he called me up and asked if I wanted to get back into coaching. And at that time, I was doing real estate and not coaching, just trying to start a life. And I hated real estate. And so I talked my wife into letting me do it. I was like, oh, just 1 day a week or something, this and that. And then that blossomed into Bandit. I actually ended up moving back up to Burlington. I found a super nice wrestling venue there. And 2011, we got our doors opened up as a 501c3 nonprofit. And so I decided I wanted to do the nonprofit route so I could do this. I figured my potential, maybe I didn't want to have to just be a business owner and try and make the almighty dollar. I wanted to just coach and let the business kind of be ran by the people.
Right.
And how my club growing up, USA Everett, was, and we had a board, and the board made the decisions, and I thought that was an honorable way to give back. And we were able to use that 501c3 to fundraise for kids. And so that was huge. Mason Phillips, Brenda Reyna, Emma Bruntill, Isaac Lopez, Dominic Damon. These are all products of that program, and many more.
Good names.
Really sound athletes. Yeah, they paid attention, worked hard, bought into the system that we were doing, and it's pretty cool that is how we're starting this conversation, because that's where I really built my coaching roots. I was able to get to the gold level in USA Wrestling, the gold certified coaching, through their coaching, the coaches education program, and that's put me in this position where I'm, on the other side of the world. I've implemented my training program. I'm running, day-to-day operations here.
For Team India?
Yeah, for Team India.
Yeah. That's very, very cool.
Cool. Yeah, I heard you saying we're getting ready for Worlds. Yes, obviously getting ready for Worlds, but we've got our big competition coming up is the Asian
Asian
Championships.
Championships.
So yeah, we've got U23 Asian Championships next week, and we're headed to Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia for that, and then actually get to come to the United States. And my team, my number one squad, minus a couple, we're wrestling against Team USA at the Beat the Streets, Hollywood versus Bollywood.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And then get to go to the Olympic Training Center and for 10 days with the team and train with Terry and the Team USA and whoever else he's got bringing in, and then we head off to our Asian Championships straight after that. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, just focused on, it's different. Obviously, I've got a big language barrier.
Oh yeah, I bet. Do you have a translator with you in practice and all the time?
I thought it would be tougher than it is. Wrestling's such a hands-on sport
Right.
that I'm able to demonstrate. Thank God, my body's still together. I've been through quite a bit of injuries and recoveries, but as of right now, I'm doing really well. So my knees are feeling good, body's feeling good. I'm able to pretty much to do anything I want. Obviously not as agile and fast as I once was.
I
don't have to go live, so that's the good part.
I have to apologize because I don't know if you remember. I was wondering how's your neck, because I remember picking you up at Tri-State that time and throwing you to the mat right after you had neck surgery, and I had no idea. Is everything still okay?
Yeah, my neck's good. I've had, I guess, 5 procedures done on it now.
That's amazing.
It's been a mess, but surfing saved me quite a bit. Wrestling obviously built a ton of strength, but getting out in the water and surfing and the posture and the body control that it takes to do that is probably one of the best recoveries that I've been able to find for it. Now, some residual pain on my right shoulder, right arm, but no problem. Like, I can do
good.
everything.
That's terrific. Well, you're still young guys, so that's terrific. And I'm not going to mention our races that we used to have in Fargo, so we're not going to go there. We're gonna leave that.
I see Levi on the messages here, and he was in one of those bands for sure.
Yeah. So, but we don't need to talk about that.
No.
So now, so you're in this situation. How long do you plan on being in India with Team India? Do you have any thought there?
My contract is through August of 2020.
Oh wow!
And then from there, I'm just gonna play it by ear. We'll just go with whatever they want to renew my contract. I'll go with that. I'll probably drop down some, maybe some more demands on my end, and if I produce, I need to produce medals. There's never really, not that there's never been, but there's been very few medals at the Olympic Games. Maybe only a couple, two wrestlers, and maybe a handful other medals only in the whole history of the country. So, you know me, Jimmy. I put lofty goals in the air, and I talk about it. I put myself in a spot where I have to produce, and or else I look stupid. I think I've got a handle on the system, and I think with the team that I have, I feel like I can put medalists on the board, no question.
That's great. That's terrific. I hope that happens. We'll be certainly cheering for you and certainly watching. So
against USA.
Well, I can still cheer for my buddy and his team,
Yeah,
and still be a Homer USA guy. Um,
yeah,
and because you traveled with USA Wrestling quite a bit
yeah,
over the last couple of years, and that's probably led to your resume to be able to get this job with India. And
yeah, it did.
I was able to both do Greco and freestyle as a medical guy, and
Right,
that's how I got to know those guys and go on those trips. And it's been a blessing to be friends with Steve Frazier and Kevin
oh,
Jackson and I couldn't. I'm totally blessed to be able to rub shoulders with those guys. You're in a situation now where you get to instill all of your experiences that you've had, with Bandit and growing up and all that, and your experience with USA Wrestling, and now share it with another country. What?
super cool because the system that USA Wrestling has in place and has designed is super far advanced, like comparative to here. I mean, like in a meeting today, I was talking with one of the guys that I'm dealing with in the office over here, and I mean, he's like, this country's 100 years behind. And when I got here, immediately thought at least 50 years behind. Like this country it's insane. Like, okay, today, well, every day, about 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., power's out every day.
No
So
power at all.
if you're no power. If your phone ain't charged at that time, you're dead. If you're
Oh,
cooking and you have
wow.
a going off, yeah, and it's every day, so it's
That's a big adjustment.
it can be difficult. I've had my patience dearly tested over the last month, I'll say, but for the most of it, I just feel super blessed to be able to be healthy enough to share, using USA Wrestling's system that they've helped me grow with. I mean, putting that into play here has really helped not only the athletes but the other coaches are seeing how we can work together and we can build a program that's sustainable, that we don't have to be hands-on chief coach doing everything, that we can start relying on some of these other coaches. And so it's been really fun, they've really let me do everything. They like literally
They just gave you,
hands up,
yeah, said go.
want you to program in
That's
place. So
so cool. And
yeah, I'm really great about
congratulations, because you're still a young
thank
guy,
you.
and I watched as you were making all those trips with USA Wrestling, and I was like, man, this is going somewhere. Yeah, you did some great things at the college, and this is another branch out, and I'm so excited for you in this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Yeah,
Uh,
I just feel blessed that it's worked out the way it's worked out, man. There's been ups and downs with my whole wrestling career, coaching career. I've worked really hard at trying to get my life back into a place where I can be a really good role model. And that's been, I think, probably the biggest growth for me is I heard it actually from a guy that I used to compete with, TJ Hill. He said it maybe 6, 7 years ago at Fargo. I was standing behind him and he was in a conversation with somebody else, and he's like, he goes, I'm probably the best clinician or technician here in the whole country. He goes, but I'm one shitty coach. And the guy's like, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean? And he goes, I am absolutely no role model. I don't have, any desire of being a role model for these athletes, but I'll tell you this, I can see wrestling and I can teach wrestling like better than anybody. So that's where my place is. And I was thinking to myself, smokes, man, that's a great great viewpoint. Like at least he knew where he was at. And for me at that point in time in my life, I was also just a good technician and maybe not the best role model. You know, Levi got to see some of those early days. Obviously, you did, Jimmy. But as an athlete, I'm sure, you know, I wasn't making all the best choices as a young coach, and as a, you know, as an athlete at the end of my athletic career, I wasn't making any good choices. I was just wild, and so there's been a nice revelation for me. I really feel
good.
super happy that I've been able to keep my ears open and mind open and able to have, you know, some reparation in my own life and able to you know, put myself in a position where, you know, this is possible living here in another country and having you know, Olympians look up to me, and it's pretty cool.
That's very, very
You know,
cool. So now that I still have you here for a few more minutes, I wanted to ask, culturally, what adjustments? Obviously, there's a big change where you're out of power for 3 hours a day. But what other cultural adjustments have you had to make?
you know, like midday, everyone sleeps. So it's nap time. Middle of our day is quiet. So that's been a little bit different. Like I go to the office, I want to get things done. In USA, where things get done. You know, like I wake up in the morning and boom, 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 boom. I go until I fall down at 10 p.m. And here, there's like a big window where nothing gets done.
Because everybody's siesta. That's just like when I was in Argentina.
Even if they're at work, this is lunch or it's time to take tea. So like I'll go into an office, sit down to like sign papers, get this done, get that done. I'm telling you, it's taken me a month I'm still not, I mean, maybe I'm all the way done now as of yesterday or today, or no, excuse me, tomorrow morning I have one more sign off that I need to go do for health. So it's like, but every single day there's some new paperwork that I haven't done yet, or that there isn't a copy of here, or that it's a monotonous, I'll say, to say the least. And like they'll just want me to take tea. Hey, sit down, take tea, no problem. And I'm like, let me sign the papers. Like, what do we have left?
That's crazy. Now, one other thing, being an American, obviously you have a USA Wrestling shirt on. People have a misperception. In some countries, it's worse than others. Because I remember when we went to France on a trip, they were like, "Don't wear your USA gear out," and that was, that was 15 years ago. How is it? How are you getting any backlash for being an American, or how's the relationship there with the people there?
Everyone's really, 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 really nice. Like overly nice, more nice than in the United States by 100-fold. Like if I'm on the phone, I can take my phone and like I don't understand what someone's saying, I'll just hand my phone to somebody and they'll stop and take the phone call and talk to whoever and then give me my phone back and keep walking. Like absolutely no problem. Driving is insane.
Do you drive much?
I have a motorcycle. I wouldn't drive. Driving, I think, I'm more scared in a car than I am on a motorcycle. 'Cause nothing's going fast. So like the fastest I've gone on a straight stretch is like 75 kilometers an hour, something like that.
Wow.
But that's only for an short opening where there's no traffic. Pretty much it's like 10, 15 miles an hour stop, go. People are driving on the wrong way. It's like normal. It's in crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Like, what's up, Juanice? It's good to see you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, I mean, like, there's everything: dogs, cows, pigs, people walking carts, people riding bikes, buses, semis, all on the road at the same time, at all times, like all night long. So, and it's wedding season, and there's a wedding venue next door.
Season?
So wedding season here. So wedding season means every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, there's a humongous party. Like, not just one, like, so a wedding here, I went to one. I went to the head coach's son got married on the 5th, and there was 4,800 people at the wedding. 4,800 people.
And where did they
at this
have it?
wedding.
Where did they have it at?
There's wedding venues everywhere. So there's a wedding going on. There's probably on my street right here. I bet you there's 35 different wedding venues, all
Wow.
side by side. And they're huge. They're like an acre and a half or 2-acre piece of property with a huge like hall for feeding, and like the one that I was at, it was like I was in shock. It was like a fair. It was like going to the fair. Like it's so much food, and there was like bouncy house and kiddie rides and a huge DJ and huge dance floor, and like it was like if you've been to like in Las Vegas at a pool, they have those cabanas you can rent, like these outdoor cabanas.
Yeah. So
one whole side was outdoor cabanas with like 4 or 5 couches inside each. And I'm telling you, huge. This area is huge. And the whole middle was these outdoor cabanas, just like so families were just in these cabanas eating, and I mean, it was insane. Like in super cool. Like super cool. I've never seen anything like it.
Now, you say seasonal, so when's the season?
I have no idea. It was been the whole time I've been here. So I think they said there's maybe 1 or 2 months off, and then wedding season is year round. There's only maybe four months that's not wedding season. So the other 8 are
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like the loudest DJ you can. It's thumping loud DJ all night long, all till 5 a.m. I mean, like I'm used to it now. It took me a second. The air quality here is super shit, terrible,
Really?
like the worst.
That's too bad.
Oh yeah. There's just fires going all the time. They have like so many people, so many homeless people. I don't even know how to explain it. Like there's people that there's just like if I was to just go out and like go for a drive right now or a little ride, people are like laying on the road, like in the dirt, it's
Wow.
I can't even explain to you how crazy it is. I think it's just because there's so many people, like so many people that
Massive population and not a lot of
and no money, zero money.
Yeah.
And like the caste system is in place. Like I could just yell out my door right now and for some tea or milk or bring me something, blah blah blah, yell it out, and in 2 or 3 minutes I'd have a ring on my door and a thing of milk or whatever I want. And like if I was to go downstairs, like to the shack, like the people in the foyer, there's somebody like a guard
Yeah.
or whatever that's out there, they'll like immediately stand up. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. How can I help you, sir? Like if I'm just walking out to go outside, everyone in that room, boom, stand up. Like, and they get paid nothing. So it's just like, it's different. It's super different. Like
Now,
they're, made.
so did their wrestling organization set you up in this where you're living?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in like the Olympic Training Center.
Okay.
There's maybe 6 different disciplines or something on campus here. Like judo, taekwondo, wrestling. There's probably more than 6. Kabaddi, this is a different sport we don't have in the USA, but it's like a mixture of like a wrestling and tag. And you go to a goal. It's super cool. It's like it's done in if they do it there, it's done outside here, but there's also they do it inside, and they're in wrestling shoes and on like mat surface.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's super cool. It's a very cool sport. There's field hockey, there's swimming, there's some track and field. There's cricket. I've seen some cricket. So there's multiple sports on campus, but where I'm living is at like the elite athlete hostel. Um, so
And they take
that,
good. They're obviously taking good care of you.
yeah. I mean, my room is I have like a living room that has 2 couches and a desk and my computer. It has a door to outside, and I can go out on the deck. It's a huge patio. It's almost as big as the inside. And out there, I've got a couple hammocks set up. And I have a bedroom, bed, TV, desk. I have a kitchen. I have
Oh,
a bathroom, shower, all just in this one little flat or whatever.
cool.
So completely doable. It's different too. They don't have dryers here, so everything is up on dryer lines.
Oh, really?
So I wash my, hang it up and dry it. So that's been a little bit of a change,
Yeah.
culture change.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Well, hey, but you seem to be adjusting well, and
yeah,
I look forward to watching, stuff that you post on social media, and it's wonderful. And this has been terrific. And your face paused for a minute. So are you still there? Are you still there, Andy? Did the power go out? Oh, Andy. Hey, Andy. Shoot. We So I'm gonna let you go, Andy. Oh, he's gone. That's just a shame. But wasn't that terrific? What a great visit we had with Andy Cook here. My first visit on the bench with Big Jim, and that was terrific. So we're gonna go back and continue talking about the ORCA team. We had finished up with 120-pounder Isaac Lopez. Our next wrestler was Austin McCullough from Tahoma. Austin was a Tahoma Bear, and I first saw Austin. I've been watching him the last couple of years, but I really noticed him in a duel against Moses Lake at Dream Duels. But every time I've watched Austin wrestle, I've really enjoyed his grit and how he wrestled rough and hard. And I love it because I'm old school. I love, hey, it's a tough sport. It is a tough sport, and it's a sport for tough guys. And um, and if 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 you from the old school like myself, I think you appreciate more the fact these newer younger kids, wrestle with the funk, and they're trying to do all kind of scrambling type of stuff. But Austin is a kid that just wrestles rough, and he'll roughhouse you, and I love that. And Austin did that, and Austin was our first, if I remember right. Let me go back to my sheet here. Austin was our first wrestler that won both of his matches, and it was loved to. It was awesome to be able to witness Austin, and Austin ended up, excuse me. Austin ended up. Let me go here. Austin was sponsored by the Center Circle. Here we are. Center Circle Wrestling Camp. My good friends, Rob Zabel and Brian Alfie, run this camp. And it's a pleasure of mine to be able to share their information about Center Circle Wrestling Camp. They were the sponsor for this weight class. And they have a camp coming up in July at Meridian High School. They have a Facebook page, and they also have a website. But go and check out their Facebook page, and or I'll post it at the end of the video today. Right now, I'm kind of waiting on another guest that I have planned to come in. We'll see if he gets my message. So anyway, sorry about that. Hope you don't mind, but trying to get my next guest to come in. But anyway, as we say here, network problem. Hey, Andy, it was a great visit. I'm so glad you were able to come in. We will definitely do that again, possibly when you're here in the States for Beat the Streets wrestling match, India and America. That'll be very cool. I hope it wasn't a power outage, but thank you very much, Andy. I appreciate you being on the show. After 126 pounds, we have 132 pounds, and this year. Jack Latimer was scheduled to be the ORCA wrestler for the Team Washington, but he got sick. He got sick the week. He got the flu, and on Thursday we find out that he's getting worse, and so the coaches got together and they contacted Grayson LeCompte from Edmonds Woodway, and Grayson was gracious enough to put down what he was doing and pack his bags and got in a bus or a van or something and came down to California on Friday morning and to represent Team Washington at 132 pounds. And I'll tell you what, that's even if you're to train for these matches is one thing, but to just be wrestling and you're done with your high school season. And he finished second for Edmonds Woodway, but he did a lot of stuff during the year. Let me see if I can find his little sheet. Yeah, he ended up taking second at 126 pounds, and not only did he wrestle at 126. He agreed to wrestle at 132, so he knew he was going to wrestle guys bigger than him. But I can't say enough good things about Grayson LeCompte from Edmonds Woodway because he put it all out on the line and took on some really tough guys. That is a tough weight class. 126 is one of the toughest weight classes that you're going to see. And he ended up losing both of his matches, but it's better that he go out and fight and wrestle than Team Washington giving up 2 forfeits. So I want to thank Grayson for doing that. And let me see who I had. Let me go here. Kaizen Intensive Camp is who sponsored 132 pounds. And this camp is something that my good friend Levi Jones has put together. It's an intensive camp that not only teaches kids how to wrestle, but also how to be a good person. And there we go. But Levi's a great guy, and he's actually watching right now. But talking with Andy on the message board. But if you want to send your kid, these two camps, Center Circle Wrestling Camp and Kaizen Intensive Camp, are both just awesome situations that you send your kids to these camps and you're guaranteed that they'll come back different people. The people that Center Circle Wrestling Camp and the people that they bring in to these camps to help and teach the kids is well worth the time and money. So get your kids to these camps. We're going to take another break, and we'll visit with our next guest as we have Cooper McCullough. You're going to need to turn your volume down, Cooper. Okay. There's a little delay. How you doing today? I think. Your speaker's really loud. There's feedback. What can we do there? This is Cooper McCullough, former Moses Lake Chief, and just recently earned All-American honors for North Idaho College. Yeah, it's a little. So how you doing today, Cooper? Can't hear you. No. I don't know how we can fix this. So go ahead and say something, Cooper. I can't hear you. Hey, this is our first show, trying to do it this way, and we're gonna see. Cooper's trying to fix it. While we're waiting, I just wanted to mention, as he grew, we'll get Cooper back here in a minute. Excuse me. When Cooper been wrestling. When Cooper let's see. I'm gonna just call him. See if we can't do it that way. We'll just try
Hello?
to get him on the phone.
Hello?
Hey, Cooper, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is this better?
I don't know if it is or not. I'm going to ask the folks. For those of you here listening out there, can you hear Cooper from my phone? Go ahead and talk some, Cooper.
Is this okay?
I think so. I'm listening to you. I can hear you just fine. Congratulations, All-American for North Idaho College. Were you happy with how everything turned out?
Yeah. I mean, after I started to realize that I probably could have done better if I would have realized, like, if I would have worked harder, I probably could have done better, maybe even won it. Because I had a really close match with the kid that won it, but yeah, I was happy how it turned out, so.
Now, did you, in the fact that, I mean, because you had a really close match with him, and he had been beating everybody else pretty soundly, and
Yeah.
he ended up beating the Clackamas kid for the championship, right?
Yeah, he majored him, I think.
He majored him. So, were you surprised at being that you're bracketed on the same side of him, or is nothing you can do about that? Is there?
No, because me and the Clackamas kid couldn't be on the same side because
Right.
we're from the same kid.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess he would be the next one to be number 1 seed, which makes sense because he got second last year. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So, yeah, makes sense.
Not a lot of people know this, but did your elbow affect you much?
Not too much during the matches. I didn't really think about it, but I mean, it's still fucked up right now. Or sorry, it's still messed up right now. So.
I think your mom's watching, so you better watch yourself.
Yeah, she probably is.
Now, you won the regional, and did you see your progression? Did you feel like you had turned the corner? Because the kid from Clackamas ended up beating you down at Clackamas in a duel, right, earlier in the year?
Yep, he did.
And so, what do you think changed?
I just started working really hard. After we had an Eastern Oregon duel, and I just talked to my coach after, and he was like, "You can do whatever you want. You just need to like commit yourself." And I was like, "Yeah." So for the next however long from that duel until regionals and nationals, I just worked my ass off. So.
Now, when you were in high school, you were considered a lightweight guy.
Yeah.
And even though your senior year, you had grown, your last couple of years, you grew in height. But then now that you're in college, you're actually filling out to be in like a middleweight.
Yeah.
Do you see? I would believe that all of those years wrestling like a little guy, but now that you're in the middleweights, I think that helped you in the scrambles and that kind of thing. But now that you're bigger and stronger, you're man size now, as where before you kind of wrestled in the little weights. And I don't mean that disparagingly. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but do you feel you've made the adjustment well in being a bigger guy now?
Yeah, I think so. I think wrestling smaller, like basically my whole life, helped me a lot. Just like with speed and like leg attacks and everything like that, like scrambling and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then having to wrestle the middleweight guys is just more. There's more strong guys that you run into rather than technical and stuff like that.
Right.
But if you
technique always wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're more technical than the stronger guy, you're basically gonna win. And I'm used to being like more fast and stuff like that. So it's good. I like being smaller, but being in this middleweight now, I like it a lot.
So now that brings up the next question. You're finished at NIC, correct? That was your sophomore season. What are your plans? What plans do you have?
I'm not sure yet. I plan on keep on wrestling, but yeah, I guess we'll see. Probably
who have you talked to, or who's talked to you so far?
Not really anybody, honestly.
Really?
A couple schools, but yeah, not too many. I talked to Chase's old school, Chadron State. Yep, or the school he's at right now.
And wasn't he a junior this year? I want to say he was a junior, and I honestly believe he got ripped off because his first match was with the guy.
Yeah, the guy that he
had beat earlier in the year, but that guy was a regional winner, and he was a regional winner. They should have never met in the first round.
No.
It was crazy. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, they should have met in the quarters at most.
Yeah. People that know bracketing, anybody that knows bracketing, you should not have two regional champions face off in the first round. That makes no sense. And, we're talking about Chase Clayson, who wrestled for Moses Lake, and he's wrestling at Chadron State, and he just had his D2 National Championships this last weekend. So what's your next plan? Are you going to do any summer wrestling, or are you going to let your body heal? What's your plans?
I'm going to take a little bit of a break, but yeah, I think practice here starts up like next week or something, so I'll probably just be back in the room.
Cool.
Wrestling and everything. So yeah, and then I'll be in Moses and wrestling and helping everybody. So
awesome. How much more schooling are you going to be able to finish and have an AA there from NIC?
Yeah, I have my AA already, so I'm just basically just finishing out the year, and then I'll transfer out to wherever. So
cool. Now, did you do running start in high school?
I didn't.
Oh, but you were able to finish already.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Oh, did you redshirt 1 year?
Yeah.
So that's okay. So this is your third year. Okay. Now I'm sorry, but that makes all the sense now.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask you a tough question because I want to know, and it's just you and me visiting here. I don't know if there's anybody else listening in, but some things happened, and you lose your head coach in the middle of your season. Tell me how you're able to deal with that. And obviously, you're All-American, and you had some teammates get All-American honors. What was your guys' approach? What did the coach that ended up taking over? What did he tell you guys?
Basically that. Just I don't even remember it. It seemed like the last couple of months have just been like a blur, honestly.
Right.
But, yeah, we basically we knew that they weren't going to be there, but we acted as if like
they were.
Yeah, and so we just basically did everything the same, except practices got a lot harder, just because we knew we had to work harder if we were going to like face up against teams like Clackamas, because they outskilled us. They were more technical than us. They were just better wrestlers, but if we were going to beat them, we had to beat them just by working way harder than them. So yeah, I mean, not having Pat and not having Stanley, because we also lost Stanley, Barry Stanley, it's a lot different in the room, because the heavyweights, like our heavyweight Connor Sullivan, he took fourth, but he didn't have Pat anymore to wrestle with, and Pat was his main partner basically. And then not having Stanley was just always like a good look when you're in the room, and he got second his freshman year and won it his sophomore year when he was at MT. So yeah, he's a really good wrestler, really good coach, and it was just nice to have them around, especially for like our second and third years, like just like being so close to them and everything. So
that's gotta kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth with how the administration and I feel bad for Pat. I actually had a really nice conversation with him back right after it happened, and I feel terrible that did happen, because not only does it affect him, but it affects all of you guys that are on that team that year, and unfairly, and to have something like that unfairly affect you when it's an important time for you. That was a huge time for you. You guys are getting ready. You're preparing for the most important month of your career.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that the last month was the most important time of your wrestling career so far in your life? I would
basically.
I would think you would think
for
that.
Sure, for college. Yeah.
And for them to do what they did, just it's sad. It's sad and it's inexcusable. And what's your gut feeling? And do you have any idea, or do you have what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen with the program?
With wrestling wise?
With the program, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've been hearing some stuff. I don't know if it's true or if I should talk about it or anything.
Well,
but
we'll leave it at that. I don't want to put you in that position, but
no, it's okay. I just don't think there's I don't know.
Nothing's been said completely. That's too bad.
No.
Well, you know what though? What I saw how many guys ended up getting All-American honors?
We had 5. Yeah, 5.
And how many went to the tournament?
7.
And one of your high school teammates, Nakara, was a member of that. And I don't want to leave Nick out. He ended up having a rough tournament, but to have 2 guys from Moses Lake go to nationals on NIC's team, that says a lot about not only Moses Lake's program, but you guys fighting to be able to get to that level. We're certainly proud of you. I know your parents are really proud, and it's this family that we have, not only in the wrestling community, but the special family relationship we have in Moses Lake. You've made us all proud. In fact, before I forget, Wednesday, we're having a little dedication thing at 5:30 Wednesday evening, the 13th.
Okay.
Down at Sinkayu Square, where the wrestling statue's at. You've been able to see that statue, haven't you?
I think so. Maybe.
The sculpture, the sculpture down at the clock tower. We're gonna have that 5:30 Wednesday the 13th. So let everybody know. And you're not going to be in town, but we're going to have a big. I don't know what we're going to do.
That sounds good, though.
But it's really cool. You've seen pictures of the statue, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool thing, and it's kind of defines what Moses Lake Wrestling's about. Some guy hitting a fireman. So it's really, really cool, and I'm glad that the city fast tracked the fact that we were able to get the statue in a great spot. So it's pretty cool. Now let me ask you this: when people find out you're about Moses Lake, what do they say to you?
That's an interesting question, actually.
Do people know about wrestling when they find out you're from Moses Lake? Do they oh my gosh, you wrestled in Moses Lake? They say, what's the response?
Yeah, I mean that's not an uncommon response. To be surprised and kind of more interested once I tell them I'm from Moses Lake. But yeah, I don't really well, I guess when I met Levi Perry, because he's from CUNA, but Moses Lake and CUNA at Tri-State kind of got into an argument kind of deal over the scale for weigh-ins.
Oh yeah.
So that's where me and Levi first met, and so once he that's how he first heard of Moses Lake, was we were fighting over a scale and stuff. So there's probably a lot of different opinions and whatnot on Moses, but yeah, I think most people know that we're pretty tough. So
well, that's good. I've had I've been blessed with being able to make trips overseas with USA Wrestling as a medical guy, and when people I did have an opportunity to wrestle in the Veterans World Championships in Germany a long time ago, back in 2000, and big time wrestling people knew about Moses Lake Wrestling, and it's really really weird. I felt it was weird that little old Moses Lake would be known outside of the country. A lot of people around the country have heard of Moses Lake just because of the tradition that Moses Lake has in the state of Washington. But it was kind of cool to be from Moses Lake and be a part of that rich tradition. So right now, you don't know what you're doing. We got to find you a place to wrestle next year. Do you have have you really taken the time? I mean, you just finished Nationals, what, 2 weekends ago? Yeah, it was the second. They finished on the second. Have you given much thought on what level you would like to go at?
I am not sure yet, honestly. I don't really know. I mean, I want to keep wrestling, but I don't know where I want to go or who I want to wrestle for, or what division or anything. So,
what do you want to go into school?
Probably right now I'm thinking ag, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, that's my plan, I think.
Now you just need to find a school that has a good ag program that also has wrestling. That's the key, is to find your interests and also have a wrestling program.
Yeah.
So, well, Cooper, I really appreciate the time that you've given us this morning. When's your next class? When's your first class of the day?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
Yeah, I got some.
And you just have a few more weeks. When will school be out?
I actually don't. I have no idea.
Another month, another 2 months?
Yeah, something like that.
2 more months? All right, man. Hey, Cooper, I so appreciate you giving us the time this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're on the first show of On the Bench with Big Jim, so that's. Awesome. I hope that's cool. I don't know.
Hey,
thank you so much. You take care, and we will definitely keep in touch. And I'll see if I can pull a string or two, see what we can't find you a place to be. Do you think you're going to stay in the 50, 60 area, or what?
Yeah, probably 65s.
65s?
Yeah.
Okay. We will see what we can do for you, all right?
All right, thanks, Jim.
Hey, thanks again, Cooper. You take care, and appreciate you being on the bench with me. All righty. Take care, man. You too, buddy. We'll see you. All right. Well, we tried to get him on the FaceTime, but it didn't quite work out. So I want to, again, publicly thank Cooper McCullough from Moses Lake. He was an All-American, took 5th place at the National Junior College Championships for North Idaho College, and he's looking for another place to call home. And I'm going to do everything I can to see if we can't get him someplace where he can continue his wrestling. I still have a bunch of weights to get back through here about the ORCA duels. So let's get after it. We finished at 126, I think. No, we did 132 with Grayson LeCompte from Edmonds Woodway. The next wrestler is 138 pounds, Tanner Craig, a 2-time state champion from Camas High School. And I reminded him of my encounter with him from the 2018 gut check, where he and I hadn't, I heard he was a tough kid, and he was down. He was trailing a really strong wrestler out of Oregon, and I can't remember which match it was, but Tanner put on a clinic and came back to beat this kid from Oregon, and he went on to win the gut check championships. But I was thoroughly impressed with his grit and the fact that he never quit and wrestled extremely hard, totally getting after this kid from Oregon, and then continuing on. But he ended up winning the weight class at the gut check. This was 2018, and then he won his first state championship later, a month later, at Mac Classic. But I ended up seeing him at either state tournament or Dream Duels or somewhere, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey," I introduced him to myself, and we were broadcasting the Moses Lake matches, and they were sitting pretty close to us. So he saw Tony Beers and myself broadcasting the Moses Lake matches there at the Gut Check, and he said that he remembered seeing me. But I went up to him, mentioned him, "Hey, dude, impressive grit and grind," and he never stopped. He got behind. I don't remember how he got behind, but the kid from Oregon was a stud, and Tanner Craig came from behind and totally beat that kid up and ended up winning Gut Check. And for those of you who don't know, Gut Check's a big high school tournament here in the state of Washington. And my friend Mark Kay, and we'll have to have Mark on the show, but Mark Kay started Gut Check, and it has turned into a huge high school wrestling tournament here in the state of Washington. People state in their bios that they were a Gut Check champion because it is a big high school tournament here in the state of Washington. And it's kind of cool that they have that, I don't know what you would call it, that they have that recognition. But Tanner was sponsored by his dad's business. Curb Accents is a residential concrete company specializing in decorative flatwork and walls in Vancouver, Washington. And if you're looking to upgrade your residence or business with some specialized concrete work, contact Curb Accents and Company. They do amazing work. I've seen their photos, and you can check them out on Facebook or go to their website. And so, very cool. And Tanner actually works summers for his dad at Curb Accents, and shows you how tough a kid he is. He's learned how to work hard and get things done. The next weight for Team Washington was Alex Rubio at 145 pounds. And, Alex Rubio is the state champion for, where's my list? For Toppenish. And his competition was something else, because Alex Rubio ended up losing both of his matches over the weekend. But it just goes to show you that the other schools, the other states, they go out and do their best to get the best guys to compete here at the ORCA duels. And the evidence showed. I thought in the first match against Oregon that Alex didn't get some calls that the referee called for the other wrestler, which made all of the difference in the world. And sadly enough, Alex ended up losing a really close match to the Oregon kid, and his match with California, he lost to certainly a very tough kid, but he lost 7-5 to a kid from Oregon that was a multiple champion. Let me get that sheet here. He was a 3-time state champion and took second. The kid from Oregon that Alex Rubio ended up wrestling. But it is these matches are placed champion versus champion, and it's a tough go. But Alex's weight at 145 pounds was sponsored by the Toppenish Wrestling Alumni Association, and Mr. Cerna, the president of that association, wanted his Toppenish kids to know that they are very proud of the fact that they were selected to be on the ORCA team. And it was a very, very cool thing. At 152 pounds, Team Washington was represented by Frankie Almagar, a Granger wrestler, 3-time state champion, and more than likely would have been a 4-time champion had he not tore his knee up before his junior season. And terrible misfortune for Frankie to not be able to get that wrestling in his for his junior year. And injuries do happen, and it's certainly unfortunate. But I believe Frankie overcame that and showed his grit and desire, and came back to get that 3rd state championship his senior year. Frankie ended up going 1-1. His first match, he totally controlled the Oregon wrestler, winning 6-0. Didn't give up a point. No, excuse me, my bad. Frankie won 12-4 in his first match against Oregon, and really showed the champion that he is. In his match against California, he went up against Jace Lukow, who was from Selma, California. Lukow ended up being 3rd in state in California, but he's ranked 7th in the Flow Nationals rankings of high school kids. And in the first 30 seconds of that match, he took Lukow down and made it really interesting. It ended up being 3-3 at the end of the first period, and let me go here to the sheet. It ended up being 3-4 at the end of the second period, and then Lukow finished the match with a couple takedowns and won 8-6. But I'll tell you what an exciting wrestling match Lukow and Almagar were at 152 pounds at the ORCA Duels, California versus Washington. California is an awesome wrestling team, and the kids there that they had, very, very, very impressive. And my hat goes off to Bert Van Duzer and Mike Marr and all of the other coaches. Eric Leslie, I think, was the other coach's name, putting together a solid California team. They ended up taking the championship. The next weight that I want to talk about is 160 pounds. Danny Snydecker from Union. Danny went 1-1 on the weekend, and Danny his older brother wrestled, and that's how he started getting into his wrestling. And very cool. Very cool. Multi-state. He's a 2-time state champion. Danny was, and represented Team Washington, and I'm pretty sure that his parents were awfully proud. And I'm glad we were able to bring the matches on Facebook so that his parents, who weren't able to make it down, so they were able to see him. And let me see if I can't pop in. Danny's weight class was sponsored by Kaizen Wrestling, Intensive Wrestling Camp. And I want to thank again Levi Jones and his wrestling camp. Again, folks, as the post says, 10 times the wrestling in 1 week, on and off the mat. And that's really what Kaizen Wrestling Camp is all about. They really focus on making sure the kids understand positive thought and work hard and get things done. And very cool camp. And I want to thank Levi Jones for helping sponsor the ORCA Duels. The next weight class was Andy Aguilera. Andy Aguilera, 3-time state champion, 2nd as a freshman, pedigree, long pedigree of lots of different things. The great thing about Andy, and I ended up meeting his parents at breakfast Sunday morning. And what a great opportunity that was for me to meet Manuel and Nancy Aguilera and talk a little bit about their kid. But they've done a great job. He is an amazing kid, and he wants to go to Fresno State and wrestle, and I hope that works out for him. He is another Toppenish kid that is sponsored by the Toppenish Wrestling Alumni Association. Mr. Cerna, the president of that, is very proud of both Alex Rubio and Andy Aguilera, representing themselves, their families, the school, the Toppenish wrestling program. The Toppenish Wildcats, state champions, and have had a strong wrestling program for a long time now. And this wrestling association, Toppenish Wrestling Association, that they have, very proud of their kids, and I imagine that we're gonna have more ORCA members that are from the Toppenish program. I would be really surprised if that didn't happen, because they have underclassmen that are coming up, and Toppenish is going to be tough for a long time, folks. Get on board, or come to that realization that's that's what's going to be happening. But the thing that impressed me about Andy Aguilera was that he went to a classroom. It was a post on the Toppenish school Facebook page about how he went to a elementary school and talked to the kids about his experiences, and told them about goal setting and do the right thing. The thing about Andy is that he is it. I'm trying to find. Well, anyway, I can't find it, but I was thoroughly impressed. And Andy Aguilera was undefeated. He won both of his matches, and we had four members of Team Washington win both of their matches, and earning All-American status from the ORCA duels. They get a patch that they can put on their Letterman jacket. I think it's a pretty cool thing. And well, Isaac, we're going to be getting to you here in just a second, so stick with us. The next class that we had was Bernie Garza Jr. from Othello at 182 pounds. Bernie was a state champion this year for the Othello Huskies, and Bernie had some tough matches down at ORCA duels, losing both of his matches, but he fought hard and wrestled his heart out. Great kid, Bernie Garza. He was in leadership all growing up through all of his schooling, and he went into running start, and they wouldn't let him be in leadership because he wasn't in campus all the time. So, but what a great kid. He grew up wrestling a lot of kids in Moses Lake. He came to Moses Lake, and he wrestled with Cooper McCullough. He wrestled with Hunter Cruz, our two-time state champion. And another kid that they mentioned they worked out with was Christian Knopp. So he's one of those kids that have found other wrestlers to go work with, and it really paid off for him. I don't think a lot of people thought that he was either going to do it or that he could do it, but he ended up winning the state championship as an Othello Husky this past season. And the sponsors for Bernie Garza Jr.'s weight class were Columbia Physical Therapy in Othello. My good friend Ken Jones runs the office down there, and his son was a state champion last year or 2 years ago, and they're very involved in the local help fix up the kids help that they, taking care of the athletes and supporting them in doing these activities like this. The other company that helped support Bernie Garza Jr. is Liftum Inc., which is a chemigation company, and they are a family with the Garzas. But Ben Garza wanted to support the broadcast, so all the people in Othello could see Bernie Garza Jr. wrestle down at the ORCA duels. I know it didn't work out so well, but there were some exciting matches, and this is something that Bernie Garza Jr. is going to be able to remember for the rest of his life. And I've said this before, but it's true. These kids get to wrestle on this elite special team. Really nice sweat jacket that signified that they were on Team Washington. But I want to thank Bernie Garza Jr. For wrestling in it, and also Ben Garza and Liftum Inc. for supporting the broadcast, as well as Columbia Physical Therapy out of Othello. And the next weight class is 195 pounds. And Mr. Isaac Gomez from Tenasket was the representative at 195 pounds. And this kid, what a dynamo. Isaac Gomez wins both of his matches. He beat the Oregon kid 7-3. Big, tall, a lot taller than Isaac. And Isaac was able to handle him 7-3, which helped, Team Washington with the win there. But Isaac Gomez was sponsored by Two Dog Ranch, who is Isaac's first head coach, Dave Mitchell. That's his ranch. And also the Junkyard Dogs Wrestling Club out of Tenasket. Coach Mitchell and the Junkyard Dogs wanted to support Isaac. And so all the people up in Tenasket were able to see Isaac wrestle. And he did such a great job. And in the second match against California, Isaac took the guy down in a cradle and put him on his back, and he was ahead. And then he ended up getting 2 takedowns in the first period. And then, for whatever reason, the 95-pounder from Big Valley, California, chose bottom, and Isaac took him and pretty much manhandled him and turned him over and pinned him. And so Isaac was 2-0, receiving the All-American patch from the ORCA duels, and it was great to get to know Isaac. But I'm going to share this story that Coach, boy, I'm going on forever here, but this is a great story. Coach Mitchell told me that when Isaac Gomez was in 6th grade, he saw Coach Mitchell going one morning early to the gym, and he didn't know what he was doing. He asked Coach Mitchell what he was doing, and Coach Mitchell said, "I'm going to the gym to lift weights." And he goes, "Well, can I come?" And Coach Mitchell said, "Sure." And so Coach Mitchell started picking Isaac up and taking him to the gym to lift weights before school in 6th grade. And when he started wrestling, he just was all in on this wrestling gig. And Isaac ended up, he was a 3-time member of the national Team Washington that went back to Fargo. He comes from a really small B school, but yet, he placed at Tri-State. He took 2nd at Gut Check, He has a 3.2 grade point average, and he helped buck hay and work on the two dog ranch, and he's a member of the Junkyard Dog Wrestling Club. And he helped those young kids, gave back to those kids, and his head coach now is Cole Dennison, who is he works for the National Range Forest Service. And Isaac actually sought me out because he didn't list that when we talked on the phone to talk about his bio. He said that he's doing that now, and that's what he wants to do. And he's out there, working to clean up trails and help the Forest Service for people who like to go out and enjoy the outdoors. He likes to hunt and fish, and he's a very big-time outdoorsman. But Isaac Gomez, a great kid from Tenasket, and he'll be sorely missed. But Tenasket has they were state champions, and they've been state champions for the last couple of years. But getting to meet Isaac Gomez for me was very it was an honor. Isaac Gomez from Tenasket, 195 pounds for Team ORCA. Really quick, our last two weight classes at ORCA was 220 pounds. Luke Purcella, three-time state placer for the Vikings out of Curtis High School. And I want to thank Mrs. Sally, let me get it right, Sally Wheeler, a wrestling mom, because her son's a stud there for Curtis as well. But Sally Wheeler, I want to thank you for helping sponsor not only the broadcast, but you guys were able to raise enough money to send a couple $100 to the GoFundMe page that helped pay for hotel rooms for Team Washington as well. And so I want to give the Curtis wrestling family some kudos in not only supporting the broadcast, but also helping support the kids in their trip down to California this year to represent Team Washington at the ORCA Duels. And then, last but not least, always the heavyweights, always last, but our heavyweight this year, Luke Dahlgren from Forks. What a great kid. Tried to hit a Mingo. We call it a Mingo, but he almost had it against the California kid. A California kid who took third in state in California, a real strong athletic heavyweight, and made it interesting. But I was impressed with Luke Dahlgren as he represented his grandparents, his parents, and the Dahlgren Logging Company, his family business, all sponsored the broadcast, and I want to thank them for being a part of that. But Luke, he's going to do just fine. He's going to go play football at Eastern Washington University, and I know Coach Best is going to be completely excited to have Luke as they're getting a special kid to play on their football team next year. And wrestling has done a lot to get Luke Dahlgren to be state champion for Forks. But also, when he finishes track this year, he'll finish high school not only having 12 varsity athletic letters, but he'll also have every quarter received Honor Society honors, the honor roll. and pretty cool thing. You know, it was so much fun this last weekend that I had to be able to go down to California. You know, my wife, a great trip, was able to spend with my wife, and we had a blast being able to go and be together and watch these matches. It was funny. Listen, if you're listening to the matches, you can hear my wife holler for the kids, and just as if she was yelling for her own kids. She got into it, and I think she enjoyed it. I had a blast. Well, you know, it's 11 o'clock. This was the first episode of On the Bench with Big Jim, and we're going to try it some more. We're always going to start at 9. I don't know how long it'll take or how long they'll go, but I want to thank everybody who's followed along and been with me today. Like and share the video. Go to the Facebook page, On the Bench with Big Jim, and like that so you can follow that. I will try and post as much as I can on that about the different things that I'm going to talk. I want to thank Andy Cook for taking the time in India. You know, 12 and a half hours difference. It's at night. It's getting ready to go to bed. And I also want to thank Cooper McCullough for being my other guest. You know, Cooper's on the wall a bunch in the wrestling room at Moses Lake, but he's also an All-American for NIC, and looking for a place to hang up his headgear and wrestling shoes. So we're going to try and see if we can't find a place. Levi, thank you very much, and thank you for being a part of. Check out Kaizen Intensive Wrestling Camp if you got kids who are interested in high school wrestling camps this summer. He has a Facebook page and a website that you can find out all about. He has an intensive camp in Idaho and then 2 here in the state of Washington. And I know the Moses Lake kids are going to be going to the one down in Walla Walla. So it's pretty cool that Levi Jones is giving back. Also, the Center Circle Wrestling Camp over at Meridian High School this year. Get a hold of Brian Alfie and Rob Zabel about that camp if you're over on the west side. Thank you, everybody, for being with me today. Man, I can't believe I went 2 hours. I didn't think I would be able to do that, but I appreciate you all being here today, and we will see you on Wednesday. You all have a great day, and go out and do something nice for somebody that needs help. And appreciate everybody. If you'd like, contact me if you'd like to help sponsor this podcast that we're doing here, so we can talk. I'm going to start looking for sponsors for that. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you on Wednesday. Take care.